You're watching News Channel 8. Coverage you can count on.
All right, welcome again to Politically Incorrect. Let me introduce our panel for you tonight. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. This is Ted Rall. He's a political cartoonist and the author of this timely book, Search and Destroy. Next to him is the spokesman for the National Spokesman for the Congress of Racial Equality. I don't know how many times you've been on this show, but it's been many. Niger Innis is over here.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you. This is Saeed Badreya. He is an actor, and his latest project is Saving Egyptian Film Classics. And, of course, to his right is Kennedy.
Hi, Bill.
Who everyone knows and needs no introduction. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to talk about tonight is, I don't know if you're aware that the Italian Prime Minister, who is a controversial figure, he's a billionaire, he's sort of the Rupert Murdoch of his nation, became the Prime Minister. Berlusconi is his name, Silvio Berlusconi. He made a comment the other day which has gotten him in a lot of trouble. Join the club, Silvio. He basically said that our civilization is superior. Let me read it, a quote. He said, speaking to a news conference, he said, "We must be aware of the superiority of our civilization," meaning the West, "a system that has guaranteed well-being, respect for human rights, and in contrast with Islamic countries, respect for religious and political rights." And of course, he got in trouble for that. Let me be the first to say, Silvio, right on, brother. I have said for years and years on this show, you know, people in all their political correctness want to say that things are merely different. Nothing is superior or inferior. It's all just different. Well, you know what? Respect and tolerance for difference is superior. And I'm glad somebody said it.
Well, you know, the Prime Minister is echoing a book by Sam Huntington called Clash of Civilizations, where Huntington lays out basically in the 21st century there'll be a clash between Western capitalism and Western values, Islamic fundamentalism, and Confucian culture. But this particular crisis that we're in right now is not a manifestation of this potential clash of civilizations. When you consider that the coalition that President Bush and Colin Powell are putting together includes, officially or not, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan, predominantly, if not completely, Muslim countries, the whole world, 60 countries are rallying behind this country because it's not about the U.S. or the West versus Islam or Arabs. It's about decency versus terror. It's about good versus evil. It's about religious freedom versus religious extremism.
That's certainly not how they see it on the Arab street. Yes, the leaders of those countries may join with us. The people on the streets, in Pakistan, there are enormous demonstrations going on against their leader who is siding with the U.S. So if you want to pretend that the people are all on the side of their leaders who are very often put in place by Western powers, you will suffer under illusions, as we always do.
Maybe he meant that Italian shoes and handbags are superior, because they certainly are. Bill,
This is exactly the kind of arrogance that has gotten the United States into the trouble that it's always in throughout the world. The reason that so many Arabs are out dancing in the streets in places like Karachi is because we have this incredibly snotty, arrogant attitude about our culture. It is just different. It's different in some, it's better in some ways than ours. It's worse than ours in some ways. I've been to these countries.
You mean letting women read? That's just different.
Hey,
it's not better.
Turkmenistan doesn't have a death penalty. We do. That's uncivilized. You can look at this any way you want.
But I think, you know, as an Arab or Muslim, our responsibility to tell people who we are, because nobody knows us. You don't know me, because you think about the people who does that, and automatically you look at me. But as an Arab and as Muslim, we are wonderful people. We have the same dream and the same struggle. And I grew up in Port Said, Egypt. And during the war, I was a little kid, go to the movie theater and hide and watch American movie. And here I am, come here because America. And I love this country, and part of it, my heart is aching.
So you're applauding, but you're saying saying that this country is something to be embarrassed of. I get so sick of that attitude.
No.
One Italian prime minister says something, and all of a sudden, all Americans
Do
are
not smear
evil.
me with that. I love this country. This country is great. I just don't think that we need to tell the whole rest of the world how
We're
to
not
live.
telling them that. It was one arrogant comment.
Wait a second. Would you say that when the rest of the world, not the rest of, but some parts of the world were saying to us, you know, you really should end slavery? You're welcome. They should have just minded their own business? What do we say to a large swath of the world that keeps women basically in slavery?
Well,
that it's just different, that's just their
we don't
culture.
Care. These are, we put these same regimes into power. We
Okay.
financed the Taliban. If we cared about it, we should have thought about it back then.
Yeah, we put them in power, but we didn't invent that. We didn't. They had that going on with the women. That
And we didn't care.
Okay, but that's but you're avoiding the question.
All we cared about was the oil, because this whole Afghan thing is all about oil. The biggest untapped oil reserves in the world are in Kazakhstan on the Caspian Sea. The shortest route out is through the Unikal pipeline that goes through Taliban-held Afghanistan. The only thing that the State Department cared about back in 1999 when they met with the Taliban, it was that reason they came to D.C. was to get that oil.
Different issue. I'm not saying that America is pure.
Big surprise, Bill, that a nation like America, as powerful as America is, with interests all around the world, is going to operate in its own self-interest. But we have to keep perspective. Nations have tended to do that. The British Empire did it. The Roman Empire did it. Nations tend to do that. But as far as a great country, and some people call this the first universalist country, we are the freest, most open, and we don't go to other countries and say that you should do this and you should do that. We cajole other countries into freedom, and that's what makes this country so great.
This isn't about going there and imposing it. It's just about a guy saying places where people can do what they want, where they have freedom. In his apology, this is an apology. He said, those who see an enemy in freedom of religion and cultural diversity are themselves our enemies. Now, I might ask you, to finish your thought, why did you come to America?
My dream, America allowed me to be who I am. And if I come here,
well, you're making
and I'm bringing my being a Muslim or also being Egyptian, bring it here and be part of the America, part of the beauty of America. All makes my kids is American now.
But why couldn't you do it where you lived?
I couldn't.
Okay,
why?
That's what we're saying.
But I think,
why?
But Bill, this is an exceptional time for, you know, this culture, if we are arrogant and if we do have this sense of superiority about our culture and our society, then this is an excellent time for the United States, instead of people getting all heated up into a lather, to really learn about Muslim cultures and Islamic countries and societies that, you know, maybe we otherwise wouldn't have had a chance to. And maybe that will be one of the ultimately good things that comes from this.
Have you been to Egypt?
No.
Let's start with one person. I'm serious.
But I read about it.
No. Reading is not everything.
No,
I'm going to adopt you. Really.
You're going to adopt me?
Yeah. To come and become and know about us and know who we are. We are a wonderful people and we have so much to give. I didn't leave Egypt because of the culture. I left because of the opportunity America gonna give me, and I bring that with me, the beauty of being Egyptian.
But why wasn't the opportunity there?
Our grandfather before me, your grandfather and grandfather, all of us came to America because it's the land of opportunity. And this is not just a cliche, this is real.
But excuse me, sir, before these attacks, what I was reading about that was going on in Egypt was the trial of homosexuals simply for being homosexuals. That no one in Egypt had to like make a highfalutin case like Jerry Falwell with the Bible. And it's just, you're a homosexual, you are in the dock. And that's hardly the worst that goes on in these... Okay, so that's a fundamental difference between what goes on in Western cultures...
But this is politics, it's not the people.
It's not the people. The beauty of America is that we lead by example. We hope to cajole people to come our direction. We do not impose our nation on other nations. Essentially, Americans want to be left alone to pursue their own lives.
When slavery was going on, nobody should have imposed. It just should have gone on until they saw the light.
The fact of the matter is that slavery, abolitionists, and radical Republicans within this country are the ones who rolled back slavery. It wasn't because of the British coming to invade American shores.
You're right.
It was because Americans themselves, exercising American freedom, realized that slavery was incompatible with our ideals.
It took them a long time, though. All right, we have to take a break. We'll be back. Okay, we're back. I say, let me ask you about this guy. I'm sure you've heard about him, Mr. Al-Hazimi of San Antonio. You know who I'm talking about? This guy, I said, when I heard about this guy, I said, I want to give this guy a fruit basket. We don't normally only do this at Christmas time, give fruit baskets to people I like.
You don't mean pulling your pants down and bending over, do you, Bill?
Is that a fruit basket?
Wow.
You've never heard of a fruit basket?
No, we haven't been to prison like you.
That's in prison, but don't take the cuffs off, honey.
No, I never heard that. Never mind. Anyway, no, I meant a real fruit basket.
No,
okay.
fruit bowl is what it's called, actually.
Okay, oh, all right. Anyway, this guy...
This is an enlightening show.
Boy, things are getting back to normal.
Got to be learning.
This guy was, his name is Al-Hazimi, which is the same name as two of the hijackers. Yes. And what happened was, the day after the attack, the FBI showed up at his house at 5 a.m. They searched the whole place. They revoked his visa card. His visa card. They hit him with the book. Let me tell you. And they, 2 weeks he was away from home. They took him to New York. They took him to Boston. They interrogated him. We understand why. At the end of this ordeal, his own congressman suggested that the FBI possibly owed him an apology. And he said, no, I respectfully say they don't. He said it's time to cooperate with officials and hopefully get the people or the evils who are behind this. So, yeah, how about it for Mr. Al-Hazimi, who I think has a marvelous sense of perspective. And of course, we wouldn't hope this would happen to any Arab Americans. Absolutely. But I think, you know, my point of view is that tolerance works both ways. You have to be a little tolerant now of our suspicions.
Absolutely. If that's the price as an Arab, actually as an American, to go for 2 weeks to make people relax, I will pay it. I'm telling you, I can pay with my life for America. If I am one of the guys was sitting there, not the hijacker, one of the guys who went to Pennsylvania and the bomb, I'll be with the American fellow, not with the terrorist. Yeah. But the problem is, when the list will come, my name will be with whom? So, if that's the price we have to pay, why not? Because I don't want my kids to pay it 10 years from now. So I have to do the groundwork, and 2 weeks is okay because I can live it. Because I do it in the airport. In the airport, I cannot travel with my kids, because I don't want the profile look at me and search me and do in front of my kids. I allowed them to go because look at me. I'm exactly what they're looking for, but...
Well, you're so cute.
Right.
But I have the heart of America.
Yes,
because
you do.
what brought me here is the heart of America, and we're all in this together.
Well,
but Saeed, I have to say, I don't think you should have to put up with that. As a Caucasian American, as a non-Arab American, I would be the first to stand up and say, what are you doing to that guy? There are almost no chances of you, in fact, being a terrorist just randomly. This whole idea of racial profiling is no different than what's been going on with African Americans for years. And now we're just transferring it to a different ethnic group. It is completely...
There he goes again. I'd love the FBI to detain him for 2 weeks, to be honest with you. But
if the FBI is so stupid that they have to arrest every Arab American to get the right ones, then we need to fire them and get a new FBI.
Look, these are extraordinary times.
Thank you.
It's going to take extraordinary measures domestically and internationally. It is a burden. It is a burden that we are all Americans, not just my Arab American brother, but all Americans are going to have to bear. Keep in mind, Abraham Lincoln, during the Civil War, suspended habeas corpus.
Yes, he did.
A foundation of our legal freedoms. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think it's going to get that far. I doubt that it's going to go that far. President Bush has done the right thing. He's come out, he said, discrimination against Arab Americans is un-American. And in having John Ashcroft as the Attorney General, who throughout his career has expressed reservations about an overzealous government, about an overreaching government, we've got the right people in place at the right time. But they're very sensitive times.
And I must take issue.
No, he's absolutely right, because every time John Ashcroft holds a press conference and every time President Bush addresses the nation, the first thing they say is, we cannot discriminate against Islamic Americans. We have to be accepting of all different cultures at this time, and it gives no one the right to be racist during...
But it's so hard to take anything from the Bush administration seriously, considering that they didn't win the election. Did everybody forget?
You're bringing that up now? Live with it. Al Gore can grow a beard to his knees, and
I mean, I'm sorry.
I think it's just, arguments by
That's
saying
so September 10th. It really is. It really is. And
it's extremely relevant.
How is that relevant?
It's relevant because
such
this president...
No, it's because that's all you've got. That's the only thing that you can say right now, and it's in the past, and it's not true.
This president is using the deaths and martyrdom of 6,000 Americans to promote such things as tax cuts for the wealthy, drilling in the Arctic, all sorts of Republican stuff that he's been trying to do.
He's not.
Speeches every day.
But don't forget, the big issue is the law.
Because
as an Arab American, I believe in the Constitution of the United States, and 2 weeks is okay. But in the end, I know the law in this nation will take me and said, Sayyid Badreya is a nice guy. 2 weeks is okay. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. 2 weeks is okay. He's a nice guy. I think it's written right in the Constitution.
I think if I were you, I would have the same exact attitude. But I think that in my position, I should have the attitude of saying that it's wrong to racially profile you.
Ted, Ted, I abhor most of your commentary tonight, but you have the right. You have the right to say it.
Yes.
And at the same time, though, there has been irresponsible leadership on the part of Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, I'm going to bring up per se. And let me applaud you, Bill. Let me say that we don't agree on a lot of things, but I have to say that I applaud you for bringing a diversity of voices from a variety of different communities on this show.
Absolutely.
And I must tell you...
Well, this is about as diverse as it's got.
Oh, yeah.
I have to take a break, but thank you very much. I appreciate that.